Hi YouTube, it's Lena, and I am here today with eyeshadow palettes. I want you to help me pick out what I'm going to pan alongside my Pan That palette next year. So the two palettes that I've been working on this year are the Tarte Tartist Pro to Go, which is almost done, and the Ulta and Avengers eyeshadow palette, which is nowhere near done, so I'm going to be panning it into next year and trying to finish it. So what I usually do is why I have the Tarte one in particular is usually pan another palette along with the first one, especially if I'm like trying to fill in holes in that palette or anything like that. So my goal for this palette is I want to hit pan in every eyeshadow that doesn't hit pan. Doesn't already have pan. So, you know, my goals won't be as strong for this one so that maybe I can like roll it into 2024 to finish. And some of these palettes, two of these palettes don't have any pan in them. One of them has one, and two of them are bigger palettes but have a lot of pan in them. So I won't be working on as many shades. So this is what we have, and I want you guys to tell me which one you think I should work on next year. So first, for the little palettes that I have the Wet n Wild Thrift Store Chic palette. It is like all in pink and purple, and even kind of a purpley tone at the bottom. The purpley one is a little cracked. It is one of the few Wet n Wild palettes that I still have hanging around. But yeah, so this one is still relatively unused. Like, it's only been used a few times, so it would be some work to hit pan on these shades, but I think I could do it. So that is the first one. The second one that has no pan in it is the Ipsy eyeshadow palette. I got this from Ipsy Glam Bag Plus a while back. It's only 4 shades, but they are like single eyeshadows in a magnetic palette. But the reason why I chose this is because they're very neutral shades, and like I don't have a crease shade in my palette right now. Or I do, but it's very, very light. Honestly, I usually end up going over it with something else. But I figured something like this would be really easy to work in alongside the other shades, which in my Ulta and Avengers palette are mostly like a bunch of lid shades at this point, and some outer V shades, but like I don't have much in the way of building block shades, so I thought that was a good option. And the third one is in basically the same category, but it does have pan in one shade. These are actually really easy to hit pan on because this was from my Project 20 Uses Project Pan, and I was just trying to use it 20 times, and I hit pan on one of the shades in the process. And it wasn't the only shade that I used 20 times, so hitting pan on this would be relatively easy. It's the Fairy Tales Storybook Cosmetics Robin Hood palette. I do have the red one as well, which I think is Little Red Riding Hood. But these are these 6 shades, and while it is kind of, you know, green, it's got a bunch of warm shades in there that I think would go really well with what I have left. And as you can see, like I said, one shade already has pan. Hitting pan on this would not be that hard, so I think in a year not only could I hit pan, but I could get like really far into this palette. So the only one that would be at least a little bit of a struggle for me, just because of how dark it is Forest. But even that one I don't think would be too bad. Merry Men actually looks like, considering what Robin Hood itself looks like, would probably hit pan soon. That is the matte green shade over here, which was the one I also used quite a bit. And the final 2 are bigger palettes, but they have a lot of pan in them and even have some shades done. So I figured I would go ahead and show them and you guys could take stock. First is my Lorac Pro 2 palette, which I don't think they sell anymore. This is one where I need to finish this at some point because it is pretty well used. It has pan in 4 shades and 4 shades. No, it has pan in 5 shades now because I hit pan in the black this year. And 4 shades, the 5 shades are just completely done. So this is what it looks like. This is probably a contender for just like a full finish up palette at some point, like I said. But these shades, while they are easy to hit pan on, still do take a bit of time to finish. But say if I use it to at least hit pan and the remaining 6 shades for next year, it would be very well set to go for finishing. And I don't usually bother to finish black shades. I usually just hit pan on them and use them up as much as I can. Usually when I let a palette go, if it has a black in it, that's the only thing remaining. Because I finished a black eyeshadow before, it took me 3 years. And I just don't have that kind of patience. And finally, I have another ancient, pretty well worked on palette. It's the Balm's Rockstar palette, Balm Jovi thing. I think it's actually the Balm Jovi Rockstar palette from the Balm Cosmetics. Now, this one also comes with cheek stuff, but I'm not going to work on them specifically for Pan That palettes. But if this is what everybody ends up picking, I might start rolling in the cheek stuff for other projects. Now, while this is missing an eyeshadow, that it is actually done and in my empties for 2022. So 3 shades are done and 2 more have pan on them. And this is what it currently looks like. So these shades take a little while to finish. Hitting pan on them is not too bad, but finishing them tends to take a decent amount of time. Led Zeppelin in particular also took me like a while to hit pan on. And I have actually even finished one of the cheek colors down here. I finished the red one. So I have the pink cheek color left, plus the highlighter and the blush, which, like I said, if this got voted in, I would probably start rolling those into project pans so that when I do inevitably finish this palette, it would be completely done. Quite frankly, that remaining cheek product needs to be finished sooner rather than later anyway. So I don't have one I'm really leaning towards right now. These two in particular would probably pop up eventually for finishing up anyway, but don't let that sway your opinion. So we have the Balm's Balm Jovi, Lorac Pro 2, Storybook Cosmetics, Robin Hood palette. This one also, because it was so easy to hit pan on, would probably end up being panned completely. I have the Itsy shadows, which there's just 4 of them, but I have no real knowledge of the formula, so I have no idea how long it would take to hit pan. And I have this little Wet n Wild 6-pan palette. So let me know what you guys think. So that is it. Thank you guys for tuning in. As always, I do really appreciate it, and hopefully I'll see you later. Bye!